Wednesday morning. Welcome to Get Up. That's Greedy. That's Jalen. I'm Michelle. We got a big hour ahead. Dr. J. Going to talk a little NBA playoffs and his favorite dunk ever. Michael Collins, the always fun, joins us to talk a little Tiger. And the one, the only, Sal Paolantonio will drop by. But, here we go. We start in Houston, and a big surprise in these playoffs. Jazz, Rockets, Game 2. The Jazz headed into this one as a 10.5-point underdog. All right, we'll see about that, Donovan Mitchell says. Steps up. He's just good. I think that should just be the understatement of the day. Nails the three, no worries. Jalen, you still regretting that Rookie of the Year choice? Or are you still good with it?
I'm still good with it. I'm glad that they keep it as a regular season award and not factor into the postseason, because this Donovan Mitchell performance he's putting on a show. We know about Mitchell. We know about Gobert. But deeper into the box score, shout to Ingles and Crowder and Burke and Exum. Quinn Snyder's doing a terrific job of coaching that basketball.
Well, Harden had 17 the second quarter after halftime. He kept it going. However, Donovan Mitchell, not to be outdone and not to be intimidated by anyone, quite frankly, puts on his own show and gives his own response. Here he is. This is one of the prettier things I've seen in quite some time, and it's in a playoff game, no less.
Flushing the toilet.
What? I'm sorry, what?
Is that?
I almost nodded off for a moment there. Flushing the toilet.
On the playground, when you dunk on somebody, they say you're crapping on them.
Oh, dear.
So that's what I mean.
Remind me to stay away from the playground.
Joe Ingles had a night. He finished with 27, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. All smiles everywhere, and less than a minute to go. Dante Exum with the exclamation point. Jazz steal one in Houston. This series tied at 1. Coach D'Antoni, what did we just witness?
We can correct everything, and we can correct our energy, and we can correct the necessary focus that we need to have. And, you know, you get lulled into sleep. You think this stuff's easy. It's not easy. It's the NBA. It's semifinals. It's not easy. And we kind of we lulled into it, and we paid for it.
All right, series is tied. They head over to Salt Lake. Anybody rattled?
The Houston Rockets, I think, will find a way to advance, but there is an issue, and it's the gift and curse of isolation basketball. While you have James Harden and Chris Paul, you want to use and maximize their strengths, which they're terrific at it. 2 of the best in the league during the regular season. In the playoffs, the games slow down. And defensively, you can play boxes and elbows. And you can keep them perimeter-oriented, which they want to be. But notice on each of these shots, there's nobody in the paint and uncontested Jazz rebounds. And that's what they're able to do versus this team. Capella's going to get his. Chris Paul wasn't able to play make. James Harden was scoring, and everybody else stays silent. That's a recipe for defensive success, which is why the series is tied 1-1.
The other thing that I think I'll say is you guys, respectfully, are too close to the situation. You think everyone in America knows Utah. I'm telling you right now, they don't. People across the country do not see because you don't see them play ever. Because you guys are watching every single game every night, but you're not showing us that game. I'm not blaming you personally.
I didn't make the choices.
Although
not me. It would be all Spurs all the time.
I would like to have a conversation with you about this game. But that's here. My point is, Joe Ingles, most people across this country don't know how good this guy is.
Which is crazy. He's been there for a minute.
He's like a novelty act to most people. He's a great player. He's a terrific player, and now people are getting to see that. He made 7 threes in this game last night. So that team didn't wind up with the season they had by accident. We just didn't see almost any of it. But that's a legit team. I'm not saying they're going to beat Houston, but this wasn't a fluke last night.
Potential Rookie of the Year, potential Coach of the Year. It's definitely not a team that you should not know at all. But you're right. People don't watch these games necessarily. Ricky Rubio had that great game that everyone heard about and then gets injured. And they thought, oh, lost cause.
And for a player like Joe Ingles, his points aren't what we call loud. He's not really fast. He's not an explosive leaper. He's steady, though. He can handle the basketball in pick-and-roll situations. He's a really good passer. He's a really good spot-up shooter. He's a legitimate 6'8". So he's actually been a matchup problem for the Rockets in this series.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the ISO because we have a big number here. It's 2 items in particular that fueled the success in Game 2 for Utah. First up, they shot 72% off passes in the game, which was twice their field goal percentage off no pass. And here it is. They locked up Houston's ISO ball. The Rockets averaged 20% fewer points per chance yesterday on ISOs than they did in the regular season. So, Jalen, you ain't wrong. Now it's time to get up and go. We'll get you caught up on everything else that happened. And this one's irritating. In the Eastern Conference, Kevin Love's elbow to DeMar DeRozan's jaw late in Game 1. Yep, that was a flagrant 1 foul, and it was upgraded by the NBA yesterday.
Tough beats.
Oh, I never said they weren't tough. I just think knowing this now doesn't help. It hurts, actually, more.
They have to announce it because they upgraded it to a flagrant and there's a point system and all of that, so everyone needs to know that. But yes, it will further frustrate the people in Toronto, saying that easily could have changed the outcome of the game. Now, Toronto still had chances to win the game. They have shots in the air, but that's a bad moment.
To baseball we go. Albert Pujols now just 2 hits shy of 3,000 after going 2 for 4 in the Angels' 10-7 win last night. Picked up a hit 2009-97 on a first-inning home run. Later picked up another. Pujols and the Angels will host the Orioles again tonight. He's 4 for 15 lifetime against starter Chris Tillman as he looks to become the 32nd player to join that 3,000 hit.
Feels like that's become so quiet. Like there was a time in our lives when someone approaching 3,000 hits would be something everyone would be talking about.
It's sneaky. This is not what that is. James Paxton fans at high, MLB high, 16 battered. Bullpen blows the lead. I'm just going to read that to you right there. There you go. Anything on that?
Yeah, it was a remarkable performance by James Paxton, again, striking out 16. They didn't wind up factoring into the decision. And it's another example of how sometimes the one-loss record is a terrible way to judge the pitching performance, because he was as good last night as you can possibly be.
Sometimes I just like to read the ticker, Greedy, and I just go with that. This, to me, is a fashion faux pas. That's Yoenis Cespedes, and he's got some jewelry. He's got some nice necklaces on. He hits a bloop double, and then things go wrong. And this is where the question comes in. Do we eliminate jewelry in professional sports? Because the necklace breaks, and it's not just any necklace. It's a necklace made up of many diamonds.
It's eliminated in basketball. There was a time when the great Dr. J played through Michael Jordan. Players did wear necklaces while they performed. It happens in football. It happens in baseball. Actually, I'm jealous.
You're okay. Here's a story. 76ers and J.J. Redick, he was on the podcast with the Full 48 with Howard Beck, talked about how he had to cancel plans to take the GMAT because there was a time earlier this season he wasn't confident that the 76ers were going to make the playoffs. Here's what he said. There were some dark moments. We were really bad in December up until Christmas. I think we lost 10 of 12 games during one stretch, and I signed up to take the GMAT on April 21st. Obviously, I had to cancel that because I was in Miami for Game 4. This is a good one.
The good news with that is it's something that you could easily cancel. Like we've seen examples in the past where guys signed up for they'll plan their wedding or something like that at a time, which is a little more difficult to move around.
Sounds like a guy's going into free agency that's going to get a big check this offseason. It was December. He didn't know if he was fully invested. They were struggling. So he's like, I'm going to make plans for myself.
I mean, you do need to plan ahead.
No
you
doubt.
Need a backup plan at all times.
No doubt about it. And it's something, like you said, it's easy to cancel. But I'm impressed that he's actually taking the GMAT.
Well, he's going to have to figure out how to handle all of that money that he's about to make.
It's a good problem to have. My favorite athlete of all time, actually my favorite person, James Shaw Jr., you remember him. He heroically stepped in during that shooting at Waffle House out in Tennessee. Well, he was on the Ellen Show yesterday and was surprised with a special moment.
Do you have a favorite player?
Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade. Why is that?
I like the way he carries himself off the court.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's see how he carries himself out here. Dwayne, come on out.
When I sit down with my kids and I sit down and talk to them about role models, who I want them to look up to, I tell them to go look up James Shaw Jr. Wow. So
thanks for being there, man. Thanks for being there. Appreciate it. So what I want to see come from all this is the public health problem that we have. It's a mental health problem that the United States as a whole has. So I want to bring some kind of awareness to it.
He cannot get enough recognition. He got a check from Dwayne Wade for 20 grand. Ellen gave him a check for $225,000, which included some money raised on the GoFundMe account. Shutterfly gave him another 20 grand, and he just seems to be saying and doing all the right things every single time.
Absolutely, and I'm glad we got that into the program because these are the type of individuals that deserve recognition and to be celebrated.
Sometimes there's nothing we can say that adds to it. You saw the story right there. I do have some breaking news this morning, and we just got this literally as that was going. They were giving me the story in my ear. And you've been following this most likely, and it is now official. Jason Witten is retiring from the Dallas Cowboys and coming to work with us. He will join ESPN as an analyst for Monday Night Football. Adam Schefter will join us later in this hour with all of the details. But again, Jason Witten is retiring from the National Football League and will join ESPN as an analyst on Monday Night Football. Also coming, Carson Wentz talking about his road back. You'll hear what he's saying about his playing style after his injury, plus what Tiger Woods has been doing since the Masters and what he'll be doing that's new this weekend. And Dr. J is going to join us later in this hour, one of the great players of all time. So I have a little trivia question for you here. Galen, simple. True or false? Julius Erving is the only player to be named MVP of both the ABA and the NBA.
50-50.
The true-false question, you got a 50-50 chance of getting it right, which also means you got a 50-50 chance of getting it wrong. And we'll find out which way it goes next. Thanks for
writing
getting
it
up
down?
with ESPN.
What can you be?